Hi guys, I'm continuing to do my benchmark review. I'm going to do NS2. I'm assuming I won't have enough time to do NS3 as well. So I'm going to start with number 5. That's the first one that's in Number Systems 2. I'm going to make sure my calculator is on. I'll clear it up. There's 3 problems in NS2 that are on this front page of this guide, and they all have to do with turning fractions into decimals. Fractions into decimals. Fractions into decimals. Please feel free to pause at any time and try these on your own before continuing. But to turn a fraction into a decimal, you divide the numerator, that's the top number, by the denominator. That's the bottom number, denominator. So I have 3/5. So I'm going to do 3 divided by 5. I've got 5 and 2/9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 2 divided by 9. And then I'm going to put whatever decimal that is after the number 5. Keep track of this unit. That looks like, I've just drawn it. That looks like 2/3. Let's look real close. 2/3. I have to do 2 divided by 3 for that one. And this is 2 and 8/20. So I'm going to divide 8 divided by 20. And then I'm going to put that after this 2 at the front. So 3/5. I know a fifth is 0.2. 3/5 should be 0.6. If you don't know these common sort of decimal things, I work with them all the time, so I have a lot of experience just knowing what they are. If you don't worry about it, because you can just push 3 divided by 5 equals, and your calculator will tell you 0.6. So this top one equals 0.6 exactly. 2/9 is, I think, 0.2 repeating. Yep. So I've got 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and it keeps going. There's more 2's after that. How do you write that down exactly? You say, okay, it goes 0.2, and the 2 keeps going. There's lots of 2's over and over and over again. 2/3. If you know anything about thirds, 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. Your calculator might round up the last one, though, because it's only going to display a certain number of digits. Fancy calculators might be able to change how many digits it shows, but your calculator's like, let's say 0.6 with a lot of 6's, or it might have a 7 at the end. That's just 0.6 repeating. And then 8/20, that's 4/10, which is 0.4. Just double checking. 0.4. Yep. So this one had 5 in front of it. I want to remember that. And this one had a 2 in front of it. Okay. I have 2.4, so I'm going to label these A, B, C, and D so we know which one's which. A was 0.6. Just 0.6. This one's got a, oh, not on the screen. This one's got a line over it, so that goes with the 0.6 repeating. This one's just 0.6, so A goes with this choice here. B, 5.2 repeating. That's right there. C was 0.6 repeating, and D is 2.4. Now, if you notice, did you have to do all 4 of these? I had a 5 out in front of this one. The only thing with a 5 is the whole number piece is this guy. You didn't even have to do that division. Same with this guy, 2. The only one with a 2 as a whole piece is that one. You didn't even have to do the division. Now, you're left with these 2 guys. All you gotta worry about is 3 divided by 5 and 2 divided by 3. Which one of those goes with which? So that'll save you some time if you can notice something like that where, hey, there's only 2 that have a whole number portion, and those whole number portions are different, so I can spot those just by looking at them. There's a 5, there's a 2. All right, 3/5. Hey, I've just done that. 3/5 is 0.6. Let's circle it. And 7/8. 7/8 is a 0.875. I know that from looking at eighths. I've worked with them a lot. But let's put it in the calculator and make sure. 7 divided by 8. 0.875. Yep. That's B. Alright. We go to 29 now. 29. Let's see what it says. What's the value of the expression above? There's a lot of ways you can go about doing this thing. If you want to, you can simplify the expression that's in the parentheses first, and then multiply by negative 16. And that's a good way of doing it. So I'm going to show that. I'm going to take some of the space above because I won't need all the space for this problem above it. So negative 16 times, I'm going to rewrite it. Negative 16 times 3 and 5/8 minus 3/2. This has got mixed numbers and improper fractions and all kinds of stuff in there. Positives, negatives. Now, I'm not going to use this calculator for this part because it's not going to, you're not going to have one like this to do this fancy stuff it can do. But we can change a mixed number into an improper fraction. And how you do that is you multiply 3 times 8. I have 3 whole parts and I have 5 parts that are 1/8 big. So I know that if I have eighths, there's 8 parts in each whole. So 3 times 8 is 24 parts, plus the 5 more that are over here on top is 29. So again, you may have heard make it mad. You multiply by the denominator, you add it to the top, and then you divide by the same denominator. 3 times 8, 24, plus 5 is 29. Leave that on top of the 8. Alright. I'm going to bring this minus 16 down. That's multiplied by the whole business in here. If I want to add or subtract fractions, they need to have the same denominator. I have 2 here, I have 8 here. If I multiply 2 by 4, I will get 8. But then I have to multiply the 3 by 4 as well. So 2 times 4 and 3 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. Alright. Now the stuff in parentheses is all eighths. 29 of them minus 12 of them. This is where you can use your calculator. What's 29 minus 12? 17. So I have a negative 16 outside times a total of 17 eighths on the inside. To multiply a number by a fraction, you take your number, you multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. And I know that 16 and 8 are going to divide nicely, so if I were going to do this without a calculator, I'm going to do the division first. 16 divided by 8 is 2. It'd be negative 2 times 17, which is negative 34. Let's check, though. I've got negative 16, and to do this in the little blues, you're going to type 16 first, and then push your negative button, which is up here somewhere. But this is a different calculator. Negative 16 times 17. And you'll have to hit equals, so I'm going to do that here. I'm going to have to divide it by 8. And it's negative 34. The other thing you could do is you could take negative 16 times 3 and 5/8 minus 3/2, and you could turn it all into decimals. So negative 16 is already a whole number. 3 is a whole number. Point. All right, what's 5 divided by 8? 0.625. So it's 3.625 minus, what's 3 divided by 2? Oops. I did the wrong button because I'm looking through my phone. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So 3.625 minus 1.5. Let's do that. 3.625 minus 1.5 should be 2.125. Yep. Negative 16 times 2.125. So since I have this in my calculator, I'm going to hit times negative 16. You could also do just times 16 and then change the sign later. Negative 34. There's a third way you can go about this sort of thing. It might be the most confusing way. You can think about the distributive power. and multiply the negative 16 times this piece, and put a minus sign, put negative 16 times this piece. But that's a bit more work, and it involves multiplying negative signs times negative signs and remembering that negative times a negative is a positive. And while I may have done that personally while working a problem, I think it's a lot easier to either change them into fractions and use fraction addition and stuff like that, or change them into your decimals so you can just punch it in your calculator and remember your order of operations. You gotta do the things inside your parentheses first, and once you've done that, you can do multiplication and division, and once all that's taken care of, if you have anything else left to do in addition, subtraction, you do that. Okay, so the value of the expression above is negative 34. And I want to say, when you type it in, you either type the negative sign 34, or it would have accepted, in this system anyways, it would have accepted the words negative 34. But I bet if you didn't put a dash in there or didn't put the right spacing, it wouldn't accept it. It's probably better to put it as a number instead of using letters and spelling it out. Okay. Let's do a few more. 53. There's 53. Which value of n makes this sentence true? So I want 5 plus something equals 5. The only thing I can add to 5 to make it stay 5 is 0. So whatever this 3 times n has to be, it's got to equal 0. 3 times something equals 0. The only thing that could possibly fit that is the 0. The other way you can do something like this is you can always just plug in your answers and see which one works out. If I were going to test, for example, 1, I would think, okay, 5 plus 3 times 1 equals 5. 3 times 1, I gotta do parentheses first. 3 times 1 is 3. I have 5 plus 3 equals 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 does not equal 5, so I can rule out number 1. That's a lot of work to do. If you see a problem like this that asking you a value of n that makes a number sentence true, it's probably looking to see if you know about the properties, identity properties. One of the identity properties is that 5 plus anything that's not 0 isn't going to give you 5. To get 5 to stay the same when you're adding, you got to multiply by 0. To get something to stay the same when you're multiplying, you got to multiply by 1. So most likely, if you get a problem like this, it's going to test your knowledge on those two things. All right. Number, 59. Let me check and make sure that nothing was accidentally cut off this one. And I may have to stop this video soon because I'm almost at the limit. Number 59. If I go over here. Yes, there's a fourth choice. D was negative 1/3. You write that down. D was negative 1/3. Oh, they're all negative. Okay. What's the value of an expression? Okay, so we've got to do this thing again. I've got fourths and ninths. Ninths are tough to do this method of turning into decimals. Oops, not on this page, on number 29. It is really tough to do a decimal here because you can get 0.2 repeating, 0.5 repeating, point something repeating, because ninths do not terminate, they repeat. Same with thirds. So let's leave it as a fraction. We're going to have to do similar fractions perhaps, but it's okay because look, the stuff in here is multiplied. Oh, we don't even have to do similar fractions, it's all multiplying. Hey, let's multiply, let's simplify and see what we get. Yay! I have a negative out here, so the answer is going to be negative. I don't have to worry about the negative sign. It's going to be there no matter what. Negative, let's see, 3/4 times 4/9. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 9 is 36. Whole thing is going to be multiplied by 2. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. 36ths. And you don't multiply this number by the bottom. If it's a whole number, you just multiply by the top number, This is like 2 over 1. 24, 36. Those are both multiples of 12. If I divide by 12, I get negative 2 over 3. Hey, that's B.